BBC Radio 5 Live with Tony Livesey.
Now, this first question is quite simple. Do you want to see more older women on telly? Simple as that. 0500 909 693. We're talking about this because a former presenter's won a claim against the BBC after being dropped from Countryfile when it went prime time because she was too old.
I deserved to be judged on my ability and not on my appearance. And I don't think having wrinkles is offensive, you know. We all get old. The alternative is pretty dire. So I would like to continue working as long as I'm good at my job. I don't want to be judged by how I look. I know you can't frighten the horses. You know, you have to look presentable. But I don't believe that youth has to be key to keeping your job.
Well, that's Miriam O'Reilly, who's 53. She spoke at a press conference earlier today. BBC bosses had said they wanted more high-profile presenters already known to the audience when Countryfile was moved to that prime-time slot on Sunday evenings. Well, the BBC's creative director, Alan Yentob, says they've accepted the findings.
We are absolutely committed in the BBC to fair selection, and we accept that in this case we didn't get it right. So as a consequence of that, we will be looking hard at training, especially senior editorial executives, about recruitment in this way. We'll be reviewing our guidelines so that people feel that they get the help and assistance that they require.
So there we are. That's the situation. Do you want to see more older women presenting on television? 0500 909 693. Or should the BBC and other TV companies have the right to rotate talent, as we say? Text us on 85058. TV presenters Gloria Hunniford and Esther Ranson join us now. Hello, ladies.
Hello. Good evening.
Thank you very much for joining the programme. And Richard Hillgrove is the director of Hillgrove PR, who looks after TV personalities, including Dragon James Caan. Hello, Richard.
Happy birthday, Tony.
Oh, thank you very much. How nice of you. Presents in the post, is it, Richard?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Good. Gloria, I'll start with you. What do you make of today's developments?
Well, I first of all admire Miriam for standing by her values and having the strength of her own convictions to fight the case. It's been going on a long time, and you have to be very sure of your ground in a way to put yourself through that. But she has justification now. She has an apology from the BBC. But I get slightly irritated because this is one case, one programme. And yes, you could name a few other things like Arlene Phillips was moved off Strictly Come Dancing and all of that sort of stuff. But, you know, you can only speak as you find. And, you know, I'm the wrong side of 60. And I started in broadcasting in 1969. I have not stopped broadcasting mostly on a daily basis. I'm touching wood as I say it, but I've never had to look for a job. And I'm still working. And it would be wrong to say that the BBC is riddled with ageism across every single programme. I just have a theory that it depends on the time of the day you're broadcasting, the type of programme you're doing, and the audience that's likely to be watching.
So you're saying essentially women and men have a shelf life?
Well, no, well, actually, I'm saying the opposite, because what I'm saying is that you take my own case, I'm still working, and I hope I don't have a shelf life. I haven't had a shelf life so far, and I'd be interested to hear what Esther has to say. But the thing is that you can still continue to work if you have the enthusiasm for it, if you're prepared to grow with the business. The point that you have to be realistic about is that you're not always going to be prime time 8 o'clock on a Saturday night as you get that bit older. And providing you're prepared to grow with the business and branch out into different things, I believe that you can stay in it.
Why can't women of a certain age be on prime time?
Well, I'm not saying they can't be on prime time. I said you've got to be realistic. I mean, as it turns out, you know, we did a programme called Rip Off Britain, so you've got 3 women, Angela Rippon, Jenny Bond and myself, all the wrong side of 60. Well, 2 of us anyway. And we did that as a morning programme, but it was about consumer affairs. It absolutely took off, and last week they put a prime time. So you never know in this business how things are going to turn.
But I'm just wondering then, are you expecting some presenters at some point down the line now as a result of this case to argue that it's ageism rather than the fact they simply are not wanted on the programme or aren't good enough?
Well, the thing is, you've had that, you know, ageism argument now going on for the last couple of years with Arlene Phillips and, you know, a few other people. But the realism in this business is that your face isn't always going to fit. And the type of programme you may not always fit you. I mean, in my case, what I believe I have to offer, television or radio, is experience, credibility. I've worked all my professional life for credibility, and I believe that's what I have to offer, which I believe that sometimes a 19, 21-year-old doesn't have.
Okay, Esther Ransom, what do you make of today, and do you accept that an audience desires younger faces on the telly, particularly during prime time?
I think we want a range. I think all viewers want a range. I think to say that you can't appear on television because you look old is as unacceptable as saying you can't appear on television because you look black or because you look disabled. And I think there has been a very strong prejudice against older people, both sides of the camera, behind the cameras and production teams and in front. When I was in features group in television, I was at 60. I think the oldest member of that department by about 20 years. And it doesn't reflect the viewing public. I'm very sorry to hear Gloria use the phrase, the wrong side of 60. I'm 70. I think that's the right side of 60. I think that, as she has said, you do gain experience, wisdom, and when I was doing my street interviews for That's Life, the people I most enjoyed talking to were the over 60s. In fact, we found a star who became a star, Annie Mizzen, at the age of 86.
I remember her, I remember her well.
And she was 86 when she first appeared on television, and she didn't care whether other people agreed with her. She knew what she thought. She was funny, she was wise, and she won the audience. And I think older people can do that even at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. Look at Brucey.
Well, exactly. Richard Hillgrove, have a word with Esther and Gloria. What do you make of today and what they've had to say?
I think we're completely arguing the wrong point. This is a situation of the tail wagging the dog. Obviously, here's someone who's upset with a decision that's been made. And the BBC must be allowed to make decisions and have complete editorial freedom. Otherwise, you've got an employment tribunal deciding programme schedules. So this sets a very dangerous precedent moving forward that someone can use ageism or whatever they like to argue a case. And,
that's not what the judges said.
The second most recognised brand in the world, and take them on. And you could argue the same point with Nick Robinson on Crime Watch, who could have gone to the courts and decided to reverse the decision, or Sir David Frost, replaced by Andrew Marr. Let's get myself back on air. And the same debate about ageism can occur for men as much as it can for women as well. Very dangerous precedent, and it shouldn't be happening.
Who is this man? For heaven's sake, keep him away from employing anybody. How can he possibly disagree with the judges who carefully sifted the evidence and came to the conclusion that the decision had been made not because Miriam was incompetent or unattractive or a bad presenter, but simply because she was the wrong age? That's what the judges decided. Now, is this gentleman from PR who wished you happy birthday, it was very kind of him, has he decided that he knows more than the judges who examined all the evidence presented before them, both by the BBC and by Miriam?
We're talking about a situation. Do you want a situation where employment tribunals decide? It's like forcing a certain quota of women onto boards, which is equally ludicrous. You can't have a situation where
the point you're missing is that a lot of women who are on the boards are actually very capable of the job.
They deserve to be there, and they've fought their way onto the boards.
You're saying that they're being forced onto boards.
No,
just
quota
for the sake
systems.
Of it.
Quota systems aren't.
Have a look at the major broadcasters. Does the on-screen presentation team reflect the diversity of our nation? The answer is that one section of the population is almost unrepresented on the news teams as reporters out in the field, and that is older women. This is not true in France. It's not true in America. Why should it be true here?
Richard, what do you want to see on television?
I think everything that we're seeing on television is created through debate, like we're having a debate right now. Esther and Gloria are national treasures, and I highly respect them. And there are a lot of older women that are broadcasters that everyone respects. But when it comes to a situation where someone can say, hold on, BBC, I'm not happy with that decision, I'm going to take you to court, it sets extremely dangerous precedent.
But hang on a minute. Miriam O'Reilly
is required.
Miriam O'Reilly says she was told it's time for Botox. And also, she was warned to be careful with those wrinkles when HD television comes in. Now, those are simply not acceptable.
By her bosses. That was apparently being teased by other members of the team in a friendly way. She wasn't told by her bosses to get Botox.
But Gloria, they are all issues that come out of the central issue of ageism on television. The team knew why she was being ditched.
I know, but shouldn't you broaden the issue now in the light of this case and talk about the different types of programme? I mean, Esther touched on it briefly, the different types of programmes that need a spread of ages. I mean, I have quoted the One Show as an example of all ages, all types, all subjects that is put out at 7 o'clock in the evening that appeals to an audience that includes all ages.
Well, I presume now that is a path that the BBC, if not want to follow will have to follow.
No, they have done it. They've been doing it for the last year and a bit.
I understand that on the one show, but now we're looking wider, as you say, and what about prime time?
Well, all right,
Like
what would say Cash in the Attic and all those other programmes where older women in particular and older men have been working on it
But
for
that
years.
is, Gloria, that is an antique show, and maybe they're employing antiques to talk about antiques.
Oh, well, that's just a, cheap jibe, Esther.
I was just on it. It's not cheap at all. I enjoyed the show.
This is a complete. I think
but
the point is this is a completely separate argument. For whatever reason, this case has been lost by the BBC. A faux pas might have been made. It sets a precedent for similar types of situations to occur, rather than having a healthy debate like we are now. I mean, Anne Robinson was dropped from Watchdog, and then she got back on Watchdog. I mean, it's not a situation. She didn't have to take anyone to court.
The irony is that Julia Bradbury, who took over Miriam's job on Countryfile, was available because Anne Robinson took her job on Watchdog. So that's just the way it goes round in circles.
Exactly.
Also, you have to take on board the fact that a lot of television is entertainment, and there will always be changes. I mean, I rather suspect that Esther's disappointment in that life finishing, and nobody could ever disagree with the fact that that was a really good programme. I should imagine your disappointment that continues.
Well, you'll have a situation where you could never, in inverted commas, freshen up anything, because someone will have a job for life, and under employment law, never have to leave a show, even if the ratings dip. You're going to have to keep that person on the front line, and that is an absolutely ludicrous and untenable situation.
I mean, Gloria, do you think that's the case, that people will take advantage now of this decision and hang on to careers that should perhaps end?
Well, I think at the end of it all, it's always still going to be in the hands of producers and decision makers. I mean, I don't think that presenters, just because they think they should be doing a job, or, Esther still should be doing That's Life or whatever, will be able to, wag the tail of the BBC.
Well, that's what's
that
just
is
happened.
not the case.
But, we mentioned Bruce earlier on. A lot of viewers say that he's now too old to be on primetime television. Is that wrong?
Sometimes I think Bruce says he's too old to be in primetime TV. I mean, Bruce has given up the Sunday version because he finds stamina-wise he just wants to do the one Saturday night. So already you have tweaks happening there.
But David Attenborough's still going strong at 85. And,
Sorry, who is?
Sir David Attenborough.
Of course he is, and he's brilliant.
No,
I mean, nobody. We're all in the long run, we're all agreeing that there are horses for courses, and it depends on the type of programme you're doing. There's no point doing, an out-and-out rock programme at 1 o'clock in the morning and trying to put in an 80-year-old presenter.
Okay.
So we all have to agree that senior editorial executives at the BBC should be able to make a decision based on what's right for the audience, and not be living in fear that the situation is going to occur again and again and again.
Okay, Gloria Honeyford, we've lost Esther, but Gloria, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, and happy birthday.
Thank you, Gloria, as well. Thank you.
Birthday kiss.
I didn't hear it.
From an older girl.
I didn't hear it.
There'll be so many coming down the line that you'll go, oh, I don't want this older woman.
Oh, well, I don't mind older women, Gloria, so that's all right. I'm an older fella.
Remember, experience counts.
Absolutely. Gloria, I'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. That's Gloria Honeyford, Richard Hillgrove.
Thanks,
You
Tony.
hold the kiss. See you later.
Presents in the post.
Thank you, mate. Goodbye. And Esther Ranton as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Let us know your views, 85058 on that subject. Text coming in already, 0500 909